In many cultures across the African continent, boys in their late teens get sent to initiation school, whereby they transition into men. This practice is a sacred custom, and we call it ulwaluko in the Xhosa culture. Did I even say hi? Oh my goodness, where my manners at? I wet, ndiyavuya kubakho umgidi elalini. Anyway, molweni, sanibonani, dumela, abisheni, welcome or welcome back to African Xhosa ASMR. Now, where was I? Well, let me just take it back a bit. But I'm not going to give away everything, so just relax, okay? Okay. The boys spend about a month in the bush or up in the mountain in Abeni in a house called Iboma. After that, they go back home, as you can see here. Their arrival is turned into a joyous celebration called Umgidi and or Umphumo. Umgidi okanye Umphumo is the time to celebrate new life because the family and friends now welcome a boy returning home as a man. During Umgidi and or Umphumo, the involved families invite friends, neighbors, members of the community. Any and everyone is welcome. Even if you were just passing by and you're not from the area, you are more than welcome to join in and celebrate with the family and friends. This is what we call Ubuntu, which is the spirit of humanity, which is basically the motto of South Africa. Family and friends share traditional foods, drinks, while well wishers give the young man gifts of clothes, blankets, and money. And this act is called ukusokwa. Now, let me explain what is happening right now. Okay. All the boys who went to the bush should cover themselves with blankets so that we don't get to see them. Only one boy belongs to the family they are entering, but more than one of them is covered with a blanket. That is because they all went to the bush around the same time, and now they get to go back home at the same time, and Ikankata has to drop them off at their homes one by one. If there is 8 of them, to make an example, that means they will be visiting 8 homes and there will be 8 imigidi taking place that day. Once they enter the gate, they have to walk straight to Ebuhlanti okanye Esibayeni, which is basically the kraal, and take a seat on Ukuko, which is a mat made from grass. Here, men visit the young man and talk about his journey ahead. This is called ukuyalwa. No women are allowed to be there or get close by to hear what they are talking about. Hence, I am standing at a distance. So, kufuneka abantu abangomama bamele bucala. This does not only apply to women, but it also applies to young boys who have not yet gone to initiation school. After some time, everyone gathers together for words of wisdom for the young man. The mother, the father, and elders make a speech. Ikhankatha, which is the man who took care of the boys in the mountain, brought them home, right? So now the young man who's returning back home, who is covered and belongs to the family, needs to reveal himself so that the family can see that Ikhankatha brought back home the right person. Upon showing his face, he then stands up and dances for joy, because this is an exciting time for the boy who has now become a man and has safely returned back home. He and his family have a feeling of accomplishment and are excited about the journey ahead. This is a motivational speaker invited to speak about life after initiation process. A son is no longer a boy but a man, and by all means needs to know what is expected of him and how to behave like one. So the elders, the motivational speaker, and the parents tell him what is expected of him now that he's returning back home as a man, because life can no longer be the same again. If you pay close attention, you might notice that the boy returning back home as a man now has a chiscop, and this function is called Umphumo and not Umgidi. So, how is Umphumo different from Umgidi? In Umphumo, the returning young man has to be in a chiscop, like I said. And secondly, he's not carrying anything. Also, the main difference is based on the animal involved in the function. If the animal involved, which they will be feasting on, is a sheep or a goat, that means you have Umphumo. What does this represent? This means that, yes, you are a man, but you cannot yet get married. Let me repeat. Yes, you are now a man, but you cannot yet get married. Now, what happens if you want to get married. Before you get married, you need to have Umgidi. And Umgidi is basically the repetition of this whole entire process, except the part of going back to the bush. Now the celebration has to be repeated once again, but this time around you can't have a sheep or a goat, but instead you need to have a cow. So there are families that don't want to repeat the same process again. So they just go straight to Umgidi. In Umgidi, you dress differently. Now, let me show you Umgidi. But before I do that, you need to bear in mind that everything else is the same. The entire process of the function is the same. The only difference is the animal that is involved. Because if you have Umgidi straight away, that means you have a cow. And if you want to get married immediately now that you're a man, you can just go ahead. You don't need an additional ceremony. Now, how are they different? The main difference in outfit is based on their head. If you have Umgidi, you have to cover your chiskop with ikechemia. Ikechemia is a black cloth with 3 white lines along the edges of the cloth. If you have Umgidi, you cannot by any means show your chiskop. So you have to have ikechemia covering your head, as you can see with the young man standing on the right end. So you also have to carry imikondo, as you are seeing them carrying imikondo yabo. Now let us go back and talk about ukusokwa. Ukusokwa once again is when the young men are being gifted with money, clothes, blankets, new beds, new furniture, because in some families they even get their own rooms. In our cultures, most of the time you share a room because we have big families, so you're most likely to share a room with others. But after you go to the bush, chances are you get your own room now, so they can even gift you new furniture. So it depends on the family and their ability to afford. After showering the young man with gifts, we then have the next step. The young man has to enter into a room which is normally a rendezvous, and this is called Indlu Yesibani. This house is called Indlu Yesibani. The room or the house the young man enters into after they have showered him with the gifts. Once again, women aren't allowed to go in, so I cannot go inside, and they are not supposed to even know what is being said or spoken about once inside this room or Indlu Yesibani. So I cannot be able to enter or tell you guys what is happening inside because it's a secret. It's a secret, okay? Okay. Once the function is complete, now you have to go about your day-to-day life. So how should you dress? If you had Umphumo, you dress differently from someone who had Umgidi. And once again, the only difference is on their head. So, in terms of outfits, you need to make sure that every single day you wear a blazer with buttons. And you also need to wear shoes with shoelaces. Now, coming to the difference on the head. If you had Umphumo, you have to wear a cap called idokisi. So you have to dress like this. But if you had Umphumo, you have to wear a hat called umsikwa. And this is what you have to look like. In the Xhosa culture, there are so many different tribes. We have Amampondo Mise, Amabhaca, Amagcaleka, and so on and so forth. So these rules may differ from tribe to tribe, but the principle is still the same. So ndiyacela ke ningabe nixela uba hayi kwenziwa into ethile apha, hayi kwenziwa into ethile apha. Sehlukile, kuxhomekeka kwingingqi nengingqi okuyo. Kule ngingqi ndikuyo mna ndixelelwe uba kwenziwa kanje, so ndithetha loo nto ndiyixelelweyo. Enkosi. When you're wearing this outfit, you have to wear it for a specific period of time, but I'm not sure for how long. So, and when you're wearing this outfit, you are referred to as Ikrwala. And when you are in the bush, you are referred to as Umkhweta. Okay. Later in the evening, on the night of Umgidi okanye Umphumo, which is the homecoming, both men and women can go inside indlu yesibane and celebrate by dancing and drinking. This celebration is called uNomxhimfi. uNomxhimfi celebration, no boys or older married women are allowed. It's for the unmarried girls and the guys. So that's basically what happens uNomxhimfi. So I do not have the actual footage of uNomxhimfi because there is no way I'm coming back in the evening to get that. So that is it for today's video. I hope you learned a thing or two about Umphumo Mgidi of Xhosa culture, which is a practice practiced in many African cultures across the continent, not just in South Africa. So that is going to be it for today's video. Ulale kakuhle, uphole kakuhle, uzole kakuhle, nokuba yintoni nantoni oyenzayo, uyenze kakuhle. Mna ndiza kubona wena kwixesha elizayo. Ndinithanda nonke emakhaya. Babayini bethu nana.